Hello, it's Carly McAvoy. I want to finish up the perimeter and area video and show you what you're going to have to do. So I did this one, which was pretty straightforward. It was just 3 rectangles. I cut it up into 3 doable things, and I added up all the outer sides and got this, and then I found the area of these 3 shapes and added those together. But then I went online and found this. And somebody was saying, this is the shape of my whatever it was, kitchen or no, living room or whatever, and I need help, help me figure out how I should use this space. Well, this is a terrible drawing, but this is sometimes when you're out in the world what you get. You don't always get something that's done well. You might not be able to go to the space. You have to do what you can with what you have. Now this, I first wondered, is it drawn to scale? Because they showed this wall as being 23 feet. They have 1 tick mark, which means feet. And so I measured that, and I said, okay, that 23 feet is showing as about 4.6. I had from 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's about 6. I was going to say 4.6 centimeters long for 23 feet. So this area, this length, they showed as 19 feet 2 inches. So, well, it should be definitely less than 4.6 centimeters, but when I measure that, I'm like, oh no, that's actually 5.2 centimeters or maybe 5.3, and so that made me realize this is not drawn to scale. It's not drawn to scale, and things just aren't quite right in this picture. If I draw something straight across from here, do you see how these don't line up, these 2 edges, these 2 vertices right here that I have? So if I wanted to say, because what they have is they say this is 9 feet going this way, and they say this is 9 feet going this way. So if they were both 9 feet, you'd think that they would kind of come down, and this one's actually drawn longer than this one. And I think they probably meant them to be the same, but that's not what we got. So that gives me pause. So how am I going to estimate this? This is going to be the type of problem you're going to do for this activity, is estimate the perimeter and area of something. Well, the perimeter I'm not even going to do, because they gave the length of every side, 13 feet 1 inch, 9 feet, 23 feet, 19.2 feet, 8 feet, 17 feet. And so I can add up the perimeter on that and have no problem. I don't think you're going to have any trouble adding those up. Remember, you're going to add your inches and add your feet. And so that's not a worry. But I'm worried about the area. So what I wanted to do, you have a lot of choices on how to do this. One thing is you could look at this as a trapezoid up here, even though there's a little problem here because it doesn't quite come down like that. But we could say, well, what if it was a trapezoid? If that was a trapezoid, I'd still need to know the height here. And that was where I started with, how do I figure out these weird little heights? Well, what I did was I said, look, if I continued this shape out in both directions, then I would get a rectangle eventually, right? So if I did that here, and then down here, I could make this weird shape into a rectangle. Now, the shape you get, maybe you have a different way to go about it. And then I wanted to figure out, well, what would this be? Because if I knew this was 19 feet 2 inches, and I could figure this out, I could figure out that side overall. Well, this is 8 feet. This here to here, and if this is a right angle, I know that I would have the Fagorian Theorem says that a squared plus b squared equals c squared. C is the hypotenuse in this, and that would be 8. So I would like, okay, well, if I had, that would be 8 squared, which is 64, and then if these 2 things were equal, what would they be? Well, if they were equal, I could say a squared plus a squared. They would have the same length, which would be 2a squared. Remember, you're supposed to have some algebra in your back pocket, so this isn't going to trip you out too bad. Divide both sides by 2, and I said a squared is about 32, and then I took the square root of both of those. Now, if I took the square root of 32, of course I need a calculator to do that because I don't know exactly what that is, and I get 5.66, okay? So it's approximately 5.66. But when I look at this, I don't know, it doesn't look like they're both the same length. And so I said, I'm estimating here. I'm going to say that one of these is 6 feet long and the other one is 5. That's just my rough guess that they weren't the same. But I could have called them both 5.66 feet and called that good. But I'm going to do the same thing up here with the 9 foot. And when I did the 9 foot and divided both of them, it came out to be 6 something. And I ended up saying, well, this looks longer. I don't really know if it is, but I'm going to call that 7 feet, and I'm going to call this 6 feet. Okay. And then I went over to the other side and did the same thing, 6 feet and 7 feet. Now, if I was to add the 23 feet that I had with the 6, I get 29 altogether. What do I get over here? Well, I get 17 plus 5 is 22 plus 6 is 28. So my estimations are off because I think probably that was meant to be a rectangle. But I'm going to go with what I have. That's what I'm going to go with. So if I did say, what's the overall rectangle? And I'm saying that the width, oh, I didn't say what I got there. Well, I got 19 feet 2 inches plus 6 more feet. So that's about 25 feet 2 inches. And the length, I'm going with 29. In this case, because this store is going to shut down, and I don't want to end up with not enough stuff. I hope I don't pay for extra, but I really don't want to end up with the, short. So I'm going to go ahead and call that 29, even though it could be 28, could be 29, could be 28 and a half. I'm guessing. I don't care what you guess. I do care what you guess. But I want you to be able to justify your answer. So I should be able to see what you got and how did you decide about what you were going to do there. So you want to show me your work. Your estimation should in the end be about what mine is, as in about like in the ballpark. So my I know that 2 inches is actually 2 over 12 or 0.167 inches. I'm going to round that to 0.17 inches. And I know, so what I have here, did I have the same up here? 13, that's 27 feet 1 inches. Down here I had 25 feet 2 inches. I mean, it's really, really hinky, right? Like if I add the 19.2 plus 6 more, I get 25. But up here, if I add the 13 plus 7, that's 20, plus 7, I get 27. And so I had 25. So it's like, what am I really going to do here? Am I going to use these exact, and I'm going to decide to go with 26 by 29. And again, I'm doing that because I'm rounding up for safety's sake. So if I do 26 times 29, I get 754, and that is feet squared. Don't do the little 2 tick marks, just use the feet. Okay, but then I had all these little pieces on here that I don't really need. So I want to subtract the triangles that I had around there. And the triangles, remember, it's base times height divided by 2. So I have this one, 7 times 6 divided by 2. I have this one, which is 5 times 6 divided by 2. And I have this one, which is 6 times 7 divided by 2. And when I divide those out and add those up, that gives me 57 square feet. Now if I have 754 and I subtract 57, I say my area is about 697 square feet. Now, if I think that that's my area, which I should definitely put the approximation symbols because I'm approximating, then I'm going to want more for waste. You always buy a little bit more. And so what I want to do is take 697 and I want to multiply it by 110%. So I want 100% plus I want 10% extra. And if I change that to a decimal, That's actually 697 times 1.1, right, when you move the decimal over 2 places. So I'm interested in 697 times 1.1, which is 766.7. I'm going to call that about 767 square feet. That's including my waste. So when you do your problem, I want you to include 10% in there for waste. So I should be able to see where you got your, what you think is your total area, and then also what you thought was that. It is not an easy shape. I'll show you the shape if I have it around here. I do have it somewhere, but what do I do with it? Here it is. The shape you're going to do for me is this. I got this off the internet as well, as some person saying, hey, I'm making a recording studio, and I've got this little vocal booth, and I've got these places for the rest of it. And what is the area and perimeter? Perimeter you can give me exact, and then area an approximation of what is the area of this shape, and you're going to have to cut it up into pieces and figure that out for me. Okay, have a fantastic day. I'll see you next time.